गंभीर किस्म के हैं और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है।
And should the government act, the biggest victory will be of Indian sport.
On the streets of the national capital, Anurag Thakur, Sports Minister, is all set to meet the wrestlers. Reporting live on the story from Sports Minister residence. We'll be right back after a short break. Stay tuned.
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestler and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
हो गया बस
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not?
पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया। पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेके बहुत इसमें नहीं।
मानते हैं कि नहीं कि वो गलत काम किया?
आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले।
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job. VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजीबीएसएफ सर।
डीजीबीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उनका सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे। ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वांट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजीबीएसएफ सर।
डीजीबीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उनका सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे। ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वांट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
Welcome back. You are watching Republic TV. Now, addressing a press conference at the BJP's office, former Minister and State Spokesperson Rajesh Monath has come down heavily on the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, citing purported WhatsApp chats that were submitted in a sealed cover to the Supreme Court. The BJP has demanded the resignation of Bhupesh Baghel.
On Thursday afternoon, the BJP in Chhattisgarh holding a news briefing at the office in Integrated Complex.
जब से राज्य बना है, कांग्रेस पार्टी छल कपट की राजनीति के आधार पर अपने विरोधियों को कैसे पस्त किया जाए, कैसे फंसाया जाए, इसके जीते जाते उदाहरण इस छत्तीसगढ़ में कई मिल सकते हैं.
Armed with the non-scam report, they trained their guns on Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel.
जो व्यक्ति उस समय नान घोटाले में इन्वॉल्वमेंट थे, चाहे उस समय के प्रमुख सचिव के रूप में रहे हो आलोक शुक्ला जी या अनिल टुटेजा जी या नान से जुड़े कई अधिकारी लोग, जिनके खिलाफ में कार्रवाई की प्रक्रिया प्रारंभ हुई और उस समय कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष थे माननीय भूपेश बघेल जी.
The BJP cited WhatsApp chats they said have been circulating on social media.
वो हथकंडे के आधार पर लोगों ने अपने चैट के माध्यम से आदान प्रदान किया, अपने मोबाइल के माध्यम से करस्पॉन्डेंस किया और उन्होंने एक एक तथ्य बताया कि इस प्रकार से इसको ऐसा करना चाहिए.
They alleged that WhatsApp chats between Chhattisgarh government and administration revealed that Nan probe was compromised.
आपके वरिष्ठतम अधिकारी जो कांग्रेस पार्टी के एजेंट के रूप में काम कर रहे हैं इस प्रदेश के अंदर, उन लोगों ने जो चैट की है, उन लोगों ने मैसेज के माध्यम से जो चर्चा की है, वह सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अंदर वहां के लॉयर तुषार मेहता जी ने पूरा विस्तार से उसके बारे में डिटेल रखा.
The BJP claims a hit list was created to target certain people and they were forced to obey the orders.
अनिल टुटेजा से कांग्रेस पार्टी के क्या रिश्ते हैं और ये दोनों इतने चहेते अधिकारी आपके क्यों हैं, जिसके बारे में आपने लिख करके भेजा था नान घोटाले के अंदर अभियुक्त है ये व्यक्ति, तो आज इसका संचालन कौन कर रहा है ये चैट के अंदर स्पष्ट हो चुका है.
The Nan scam came to light when the Chhattisgarh ACB conducted raids on the offices of Nagarik Apurti Nigam, or NAN, the nodal agency for ensuring effective operation of the PDS system in the state, in February 2015, and seized unaccounted cash amounting to 3.64 crore. An FIR was registered against 27 persons, accusing them of distributing substandard quality of rice and salt through fair price shops. Two senior IAS officers, Anil Tuteja, the former chairman of NAN, and Alok Shukla, former managing director of NAN, were suspended for overlooking discrepancies. However, the Baghel government came to power and formed a fresh SIT. Now in the Supreme Court, the ED said that the Chief Minister, members of the SIT and a top law officer had allegedly weakened the case against two senior bureaucrats involved in embezzlement of crores of rupees in the purchase and transportation of food grains. The allegations are of conspiracy. And now, the Congress must answer. Agency report for Republic TV.
The Union Minister Anurag Thakur held a 3-hour-long meeting with protesting wrestlers and issued a statement on the grave allegations against the Wrestlers Federation of India, saying that the government has sent a notice to the WFI and has sought a response within the next 72 hours. This comes after top wrestlers led by Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Fogart and Sakshi Malik staged a protest at Delhi's Jantar Mantar demanding a complete overhaul of the WFI. In what is being seen as a big win for the wrestlers, 3 major changes are expected after the 3-hour-long meeting with the sports minister. Sources suggest that the training centre is likely to be moved to the national capital and 8 coaches will also be changed. Further resignation of the WFI chief is the last sticking point. Sources suggest that another meeting is likely this morning after the late-night marathon. Meanwhile, Wrestlers Federation of India is also set to submit a report by 3 this afternoon, following which the Sports Ministry will take a call between 4 and 8 this evening over the next course of action. You are with Republic TV. We slip into a short break, but still to come, the Sports Minister steps in, holds a late-night meeting with protesting wrestlers.
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis on the Indian economy. Gauging the present and future outlooks. Economists, thinkers, policymakers decode the India story. The Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series, coming soon.
We've got an iconic policeman on our show. आपका पुलिस का सफर बड़ा आइकॉनिक है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ सर, आपका सफर कैसे शुरू हुआ? Why did you choose to join the IPS?
मैंने तो तैयारी की थी पूरे इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस के लिए, पर कुछ संयोग ऐसा हुआ कि 2 पर्चे देने के बाद मेरी आंख में कुछ समस्या हो गई। इलाहाबाद में आई स्पेशलिस्ट जो सबसे अच्छे थे, उन्होंने इलाज किया, पर उनके पूरे इलाज के बावजूद मेरी आंख ऐसी नहीं हो पाई कि मैं इम्तहान में बैठ सकूँ। और 3 कंपल्सरी और 2 पर्चों के आधार पर मेरा जब रिजल्ट आया तो मैंने देखा कि मैं IPS में मैं नंबर 1 पोजीशन पे हूँ। इस तरह से IPS में मेरा सिलेक्शन, आप मुझे एक्सीडेंटल पुलिस ऑफिसर भी कह सकते हैं।
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestler and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the Nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job. VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being made forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
Republic 48.3%, 374% more viewership than News 18 in super prime time. Content supremacy has destroyed the landing experiment. Republic TV, voice of the people.
The headlines we're tracking at this hour: after late night meet marathon, Anurag Thakur to meet protesting wrestlers shortly again. Champs set the record straight, say don't compel us to name and shame. Given a deadline, asked to step down, but will Wrestling Federation chief be sacked? Violence, vandalism, arson, complete mayhem breaks out in Peru's capital, Lima. and a SWOT analysis of the Indian economy ahead of the budget unmissable Republic Dialogues live from Pune today. Hello and welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic TV. I'm Rukma with you. And we start off with breaking news that we are getting right now. And in the latest update, following the late night marathon meeting between Sports Minister Anurag Thakur and protesting wrestlers, the Sports Minister will meet the protesting wrestlers again today. That's according to schedule, and breaking news coming in regarding this. They are likely to meet at Jantar Mantar. That's what we are hearing. Anytime now that this meeting is likely to happen, sources have informed Republic that it has been decided that the wrestlers will first go to Jantar Mantar and discuss the future strategy. Anuj joining me from the ground there. Anuj has been following this story, as you know. Anuj, what can you tell our viewers about the latest in our wrestling fraternity and their campaign?
Well, right now I'm reporting from the Sports Minister's residence, and this was the last night meeting which happened here only. And this is Anurag Thakur's residence. Let me tell you that it was decided, or rather, it was informed to the wrestler by none other but the Sports Minister himself, that they are going to meet again today in the morning, and the time which was given was of 8:30. But the latest what we have been told is that wrestlers has now decided first they are going to go to Jantar Mantar again. This is going to be the show of strength again, show of unity again there from the Jantar Mantar, as this was suggested by the ministry to the wrestlers that they are going to form a committee. Let me tell you, this is very important that ministry has informed the wrestlers that they are going to form the committee. Committee is going to look into the matter, and they will be coming out with the problems and with the solutions also of the problem. But this has been decided by the wrestlers. They are not satisfied with the ministry's decision. They want the restructure of federation. They want the president to be sacked. So this is all what has been discussed in the meeting, the latest meeting among the wrestlers, what we have been told. So this is the plan of change. If we talk change in plan, I beg your pardon, and they are going to be there at Jantar Mantar at around 10:30. They are going to hold the press conference again. What I have been told, that this is going to be another press conference of the wrestlers there. This is going to be Forgat herself. This is going to be Pune over there, and all the wrestlers whom we are seeing protesting. They are again going to hold a press conference and will be talking about their decision, that what exactly they have decided. Let me again remind you that earlier it was decided that they are going to be here at the Sports Minister's residence. They are going to meet Sports Minister again, as this was none other but the Sports Minister himself who have asked for the same. But now the wrestlers are saying that they are not satisfied with the ministry's decision. They want it to be full and final. They have made in their demands clear, and they want action on their demands. That's something what has been stated. So the strategy now, what we have been told is, first this is going to be at Jantar Mantar. All the gathering is going to be there. This is the third day of the protest when wrestlers are protesting. I do remember when I was there, and it was the press conference 3 days back at 4 p.m. and from there it has been already started, and this is the third day of the protest when the wrestlers are protesting at Jantar Mantar. But nothing has reached to conclusion as of till now. And one more important point to mention here is, this is going to be the president also, Brij Bhushan, who is going to hold a press conference, what we have been told, at around 12. It is also going to be very, very important to understand, to see what exactly he is going to come out, because he is saying from the day one that these are all baseless allegations. But there, on the other hand, the players are making it clear, I beg your pardon, the wrestlers are making it clear that they have enough evidences. They are saying if it will be required, they are going to come out with the proof. We have seen this is about the self-respect. That's the line which has been taken. That is why they are not coming out with the names. but they can come out with the names, they can come out with the proofs, because it is not limited to any kind of corruption only, but this is about the harassment which include the sexual harassment, which include the mental harassment. So the latest what we are breaking at this point in time is this is the change in plan. Earlier it was decided that the wrestlers first are going to come here at the sports minister residence from where I am reporting, but now it is going to be at Jantar Mantar. The wrestlers are going to be there at Jantar Mantar. The day 3 of the protests continue in the national capital at Jantar Mantar. They are going to gather over there. They are going to meet and decide the future course of action. But this point in time, what we have been told, this is a change in plan. Earlier it was decided, I pointed out earlier also, that they are going to come here at the sportsman residence. But Jantar Mantar at 10:30, this is going to be a press conference where they will be speaking about the things that what exactly has been discussed with the minister last night, what has been advised by the ministry, what is the assurance that sports ministry is giving to the wrestlers. This is all going to be discussed. I'll keep an eye on the movement also, if there's going to be any kind of movement. But yes, let me tell you that this is going to be another important press conference at 10:30 at Jantar Mantar itself, when the wrestlers are going to come out and will be talking about the assurance that has been given by the ministry. But this is important to mention over here that the wrestlers are not satisfied with that assurance. They are not satisfied with the assurance given by the ministry. This is not going to be limited by sacking the president. That's something what we are saying. This is not going to be limited to this, but they want a structural change in the federation. That is something what they have been stating from the day one. They are saying this need to be changed because this is about the future of wrestling. This is about the future of the fraternity. That is something what has been stated. We have been continuously seeing that how the wrestlers are continuously saying what exactly has been happening with them. This is not limited to 1 or 2, but this is about numbers of players who have seen that harassment. That's something what we have been told. So this is going to be again important. If Anurag Thakur, sports minister, is going to come out or is going to speak about the decision of the ministry, this is going to be wait and watch whether the government or the ministry will be speaking on the same. But at this point in time, the government is trying to convince a wrestler. We have seen Anurag Thakur speaking that yes, this is in knowledge of the government and we are coming out with a solution. We will be coming out with the solution. We are working on the same. That's the assurance which has been given by none other but the minister and the ministry itself. But on the other hand, till now the things have not reached to any kind of conclusion, because again this is going to be day 3 of the protest, as I was mentioning it earlier also, when the wrestlers are going to be there at Jantar Mantar. They will be protesting against what we have been told, that they will be doing a press conference over there. And again we are just waiting for the update that what exactly is going to the future strategy, what is going to be the next course of action. But as of till now, what we have been told, this is again going to the show of unity there from the Jantar Mantar, and demands remain the same. Yes, back to you.
So the much anticipated meeting with the sports minister currently underway. The government clearly very keen to avoid a continuation of the wrestlers' protest that has been hogging headlines. In fact, it's taken the entire nation by storm. Anuj there on the ground reporting. Well, when we talk about who are present inside in talks with the union sports minister, any information on that? Also, well, clearly the government very keen that the protest should not continue for a third day.
Well, exactly. This is something which has been mentioned by the government and the ministry itself, that this should not continue for the third day, I beg your pardon. But let me tell you that the meeting has not begun yet. Nobody has reached over here. There is a change in plan. The wrestlers first was scheduled to reach here at Sports Minister Residence, but it has been postponed. It has been decided by the wrestlers. They are going to first go to Jantar Mantar. They are going to show their strength. their unity at Jantar Mantar again. This is a press conference at 10:30 by the wrestlers at Jantar Mantar itself again, and they are going to come out with the future strategy. They are going to come out with what exactly is the assurance that has been given by the ministry to the wrestlers, and they are not satisfied with the same. That's something what we have been told. I am reporting from Anurag Thakur's residence. This is the Sports Minister's residence. Sports Minister is keeping a tight eye on the ground and is already in touch with the officials and have been talking to the wrestlers also. But let me tell you, the assurance has been given by the ministry. But on the other hand, the wrestlers, the people who are protesting there at Jantar Mantar are not satisfied yet. So nothing has reached to conclusion as of till now. This was the meeting which was scheduled here at Anurag Thakur's residence, but this has been postponed as of till now by the wrestlers. They were called when this meeting happened last evening. They were called again today. But now the wrestlers have decided they are going to first go to Jantar Mantar. There they will be discussing among the wrestlers that what is going to be the next course of action, and after that only they are going to move ahead with any kind of plan, if this is going to be a meeting or they are going to continue with their protest until and unless their demands are fulfilled. Yes, back to you.
And Anuj, the wrestlers have made it clear that the wrestlers had a marathon meeting. Leaders among who are taking the lead in this protest had a marathon meeting with the Union Sports Minister. Let's listen in to what the Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur had to say with regard to this breaking news story.
खेल और खिलाड़ियों को लेकर सदैव भारत सरकार ने लगातार शानदार काम किया है और आपने खेल के उत्थान के लिए देखा होगा जिस तरह से भारत ने मेडल भी जीते हैं, परफॉर्मेंस हुई, बहुत अच्छा भी किया है। फेडरेशनों में सुधार लाने के लिए भी लगातार काम हुए हैं और जो आरोप लगे हैं, मैं तो यही कहूँगा खिलाड़ियों ने जो आरोप लगाए वो गंभीर किस्म के हैं और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है प्रभावी रूप से। और हम सदा खिलाड़ियों से पहले भी मिलते रहे और आज भी मेरा प्रयास है कि मैं वापस जाकर खिलाड़ियों से मिलूंगा ताकि उनकी बात को सुन भी सकें और जो उचित कार्रवाई होगी वो भी करेंगे।
अभी आप दिल्ली जाके वहाँ मिलने?
मैं निश्चित तौर पर अपना कार्यक्रम बाकी छोड़ के वापस दिल्ली जा रहा हूँ, मैं उनसे मिलूंगा भी और बातचीत भी करेंगे, सुनेंगे भी। और मैं यही कह सकता हूँ खिलाड़ियों के हितों के लिए और खेल के हित के लिए पहले भी सरकार ने लगातार कदम उठाए हैं, अब भी सरकार ने कहीं कोई संकोच नहीं किया। तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए हमने नोटिस भी दिया था, जवाब भी मांगा 72 घंटे में, कैंप को भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया है और भी आगे जो कदम उठाने पड़ेंगे वो भी उठाएंगे और खिलाड़ियों से मिलकर पूरी जानकारी भी प्राप्त करेंगे।
Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur there. Anuj, stay with us. We'll be coming back to you. But right now, I'm going across to my colleague Piyush Ori, who has some information for our viewers. Piyush, what is the latest update? We are bringing minute-to-minute updates on this campaign by the wrestlers as they seek justice for themselves, as they seek justice in what they are terming long suffering, exploitation and harassment that they have undergone at the hands not just of the Wrestling Federation of India president, but in fact of various other officials as well. So what's the latest update? Over to you.
Good morning, Rukma, and good morning to all our viewers who are viewing us at the moment. And let me just tell you that we are reporting over here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, where most of the wrestlers as of now are doing their practice. But what is being told to us is that in order to get their demands met, in order to support their fellow wrestlers, most of which is being supported by the seniors, it is expected that the wrestlers are going to move from here to Jantar Mantar soon. So right now, as you can see from here, over here, the visuals that are being presented to you by my video journalist Vijay Bhishma, that there are wrestlers who are right now just doing their practice, and from here they would be moving from Chhattisgarh Stadium then to Jantar Mantar in order to give their support to the seniors. In fact, if you can see over here, the number of wrestlers today doing their practice also seems to be quite less, which gives you a feeling that yes, the practice of the wrestlers right now is getting affected, because the main focus of the wrestlers over here right now is to make their demands felt, is to make their people feel that yes, they were being exploited and they were not being treated well, and they are trying to make sure that their demands get met. In fact, what we are going to do is we are also going to have a word with some of the wrestlers and get to know about what they actually feel about the protest. सर, आपका नाम?
मेरा हरदीप।
सर, एक चीज़ मेरे को बताइए, ये जो धरना चल रहा है इसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
देखो, ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्य का दिन है, लले दुर्भाग्य, कुश्ती के लिए बहुत दुख की बात है ये धरना चल रहा है। और सबसे दुख की बात ये है जो महिलाओं ने आरोप लगाए हैं और जो बोल रही है हमारे पास सबूत भी है, शोषण हो रहा है, ये सबसे दुख की बात है।
आप चाहते हैं कि WFI रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया में बदलाव हो?
देखो, जैसे महिलाओं के साथ जो गलत हो रहा है, जो यौन शोषण बोल रहे हैं, ये कोई बहुत बड़ी बात है, ये छोटी बात है। अगर ऐसा काम करे तो ज़रूर शोषण और WFI का बदलाव होना चाहिए।
तो आप चाहते हैं कि बृजभूषण शरण सिंह इस्तीफा दे और मतलब एक नया अध्यक्ष है? अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं तो
बिल्कुल, अगर दोषी हैं तो बिल्कुल बदलाव होना चाहिए।
So you just got to hear one of the reaction of a wrestler who is saying that if there is a wrongdoing which has been happening in WFI, there should be changes, there should be amendments. And as what Anuj, my colleague who is reporting from outside the office of Sports Minister Anurag Thakur, there is going to be now a hectic round of meeting in which the Ministry of Sports Department is going to be having a negotiation with the wrestlers and try to get a solution in this deadlock soon. Back to you in the studio.
Well, Piyush and Anuj with us on this story. So the tempers continue to be high. However, the wrestlers clearly seem to be having a strategy here. The government keen on avoiding a continuation of the protests. That's what the government has made very clear. But the Union Sports Minister has asked the wrestlers to wait for 72 hours, which are not over yet. Today morning's meeting has been postponed right now. We are not hearing anything about it, but there's to be a press conference at 10:30. Many thanks, Piyush and Anuj, for joining us. And other top stories that we are tracking. Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur holds 3-hour-long meeting with protesting wrestlers and issues a statement on the grave allegations against the Wrestlers Federation of India. Says that the government has sent a notice to WFI and has sought a response within 72 hours. This comes after top wrestlers led by Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Fogart and Sakshi Malik staged protests at Delhi's Jantar Mantar demanding a complete overhaul of the WFI.
मैं तो यही कहूँगा, खिलाड़ियों ने जो आरोप लगाए वो गंभीर किस्म के हैं और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है।
In a big win for protesting wrestlers, 3 major changes are expected after the 3-hour-long meeting with the sports minister. Sources suggest training center is likely to be moved to the national capital and 8 coaches also to be changed. Further resignation of the WFI chief is the last sticking point. Sources suggest another meeting likely this morning after the late-night marathon meeting. Meanwhile, the Federation of India is also set to submit a report by 3 p.m. today, following which the ministry will take a call between 4 to 8 p.m. over the next course of action. Prime Minister to distribute around 71,000 appointment letters to newly inducted recruits in government departments and organizations via video conferencing today. Prime Minister will also address these appointees on the occasion in a big boost to employment. A day after BRS's public meeting where top leaders slammed the central government was using governors against the state governments in non-BJP-led states, Telangana Governor Tamil Sai Soundararajan has now hit out, saying that the governors are performing their duties and there is nothing political about it. Stoking a fresh controversy, JDU leader Ghulam Rasool Balyawi has said that Muslims will make every city Karbala if any finger is raised against the Prophet. Further hitting out at political parties for calling themselves secular and not pressing for Nupur Sharma's arrest. Hitting out at Nitish Kumar, senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad has said that Nitish dreams of emerging as the opposition's prime ministerial face, but he was not invited for KCR's public meeting.
क्या नीतीश बाबू कभी अकेले चुनाव लड़े हैं क्या? कभी एक बार लड़े थे 14 में, तो क्या हुआ था? हमेशा उनको एक सहारा चाहिए। तो हिंदुस्तान के नेता बनने के लिए प्रकाश बाबू सिर्फ बैसाखी पे काम नहीं चलता, अपनी शख्सियत होनी चाहिए। नीतीश कुमार को शख्सियत नहीं बची है।
राहुल गांधी और नीतीश कुमार में कौन सा सख्त उम्मीदवार है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के खिलाफ?
ये सब आप असेस करिए, मेरा काम नहीं है। आज हम यहाँ धरने पे आए थे, किसानों को पिटाई की गई थी, तो नीतीश कुमार, मैं बार बार कहूंगा कि आपकी क्या हो गई राजनीति? सिर्फ डंडा पिटाई, क्या मतलब है इसका? बच्चे रोज।
With his term as the BJP national president extended till 2024, JP Nadda is all set to visit Ghazipur in East Uttar Pradesh today, marking the beginning of the party's campaign in these Lok Sabha constituencies in the state where BJP lost in 2019. Violence, vandalism, arson, complete mayhem breaks out in Peru's capital, Lima. Stay tuned to Republic for all these updates. Also, a SWOT analysis of the Indian economy ahead of the budget. Unmissable Republic dialogues live from Pune today.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job. VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज DGBSF सर।
DGBSF में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहाँ मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उनका सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे। ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वॉन्ट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
Republic 48.3%, 374% more viewership than News 18 in super prime time. Content supremacy has destroyed the landing experiment. Republic TV, voice of the people.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजीबीएसएफ सर।
डीजीबीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहाँ मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उनका सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे। ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वॉन्ट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
We see all these wrestlers who have gathered here, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart, Bajrang Punia, who are sitting right here, and more of these aspirants, these budding wrestlers who have gathered here in huge numbers, because it is really about their careers, their future. It is about the youth of our country. Senior wrestlers are saying that they are proud of these children who are raising their voices, who've come right here and who've had the courage to speak up against Brij Bhushan Sharan.
हो गया बस।
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not?
पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया। पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेंगे वो चीज पे नहीं।
मानते हैं कि नहीं कि गलत काम?
आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले।
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis on the Indian economy, gauging the present and future outlooks. Economists, thinkers, policymakers decode the India story. The Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series, coming soon.
We've got an iconic policeman on our show. आपका पुलिस का सफर बड़ा आइकॉनिक है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ सर, आपका सफर कैसे शुरू हुआ? Why did you choose to join the IPS?
मैंने तो तैयारी की थी पूरे इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस के लिए, पर कुछ संयोग ऐसा हुआ कि 2 पर्चे देने के बाद मेरे आंख में कुछ समस्या हो गई। इलाहाबाद में आई स्पेशलिस्ट जो सबसे अच्छे थे, उन्होंने इलाज किया, पर उनके पूरे इलाज के बावजूद मेरी आंख ऐसी नहीं हो पाई कि मैं इम्तहान में बैठ सकूँ। और 3 कंपल्सरी और 2 पर्चों के आधार पर मेरा जब रिजल्ट आया तो मैंने देखा कि मैं IPS में मैं नंबर 1 पोजीशन पे हूँ। इस तरह से IPS में मेरा सिलेक्शन, आप मुझे एक्सीडेंटल पुलिस ऑफिसर भी कह सकते हैं।
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestlers and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Fogart, Sangeeta Fogart and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now, therefore, look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job. VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
Top headlines at 9:30 after late night meet marathon. Anurag Thakur to meet protesting wrestlers again today. Champ sets the record straight, say do not compel us to name and shame. Given a deadline, asked to step down, but will Wrestling Federation chief be sacked? Violence, vandalism, arson, complete mayhem breaks out in Peru's capital, Lima. A SWOT analysis of the Indian economy ahead of the budget. Unmissable Republic dialogue live from Pune today. Thanks for tuning in this Friday morning. We are live and breaking. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Lots lined up for you in this edition. Straight up starting with breaking news. Coming in, a fresh controversy sparked by Farooq Abdullah, where he is now drawn a parallel between Rahul Gandhi and Shankaracharya, where he says centuries ago Shankaracharya came here. He walked when there were no roads but jungles. He had walked from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. He's the second person who took out a yatra from the same Kanyakumari and is now reaching Kashmir. So Farooq Abdullah there drawing a parallel between Rahul Gandhi and Shankaracharya. So drawing yet another analogy for Rahul Gandhi, comparing him to Shankaracharya, saying that centuries ago Shankaracharya walked from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and Rahul Gandhi is doing just the same. Let's listen in to that soundbite of NC Chief Farooq Abdullah.
पहली दफा कई सदियों पहले शंकराचार्य जी आए थे। वो चले थे जब सड़कें नहीं थी, जंगल थे। वो चले थे कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर तक। ये दूसरे शख्स हैं जिन्होंने यात्रा की है उसी कन्याकुमारी से और कश्मीर पहुंच रहे हैं। मकसद क्या है? मकसद है हिंदुस्तान को जोड़ना, भारत को जोड़ना। भारत में जो नफरत पैदा की जा रही है, धर्मों को तोड़ा जा रहा है, हिंदू को अलग, मुसलमान को अलग, सिख को अलग, ईसाई को अलग खड़ा किया जा रहा है। यह गांधी का भारत नहीं था। भारत गांधी का और राम का जो भारत था वो था कि सब हम एक हैं, सब धर्म जो है कितने ही अच्छे हैं, कोई धर्म बुरा नहीं है, इंसान बुरा है, धर्म बुरा नहीं है। और यही यात्रा जो है आज भारत को जोड़ने की कोशिश कर रही है। जो इसके दुश्मन हैं वो भारत के दुश्मन हैं, वो इंसानियत के दुश्मन हैं, वो लोगों के दुश्मन हैं।
So there you heard NC leader who's patronizing Rahul Gandhi once again, comparing him to Adi Shankaracharya, where he says that just like Shankaracharya who walked from Kanyakumari to Kerala, it's Rahul Gandhi again who's walking the path of Shankaracharya. In fact, a reaction coming in from BJP. Let's listen in.
At a time when the entire country is observing the Kashmiri Hindu Genocide Day, Farooq Abdullah, participant stakeholder in the so-called Bharat Jodo Yatra of Rahul Gandhi, rubbed salt into the wounds of the Kashmiri Hindus by advocating for talks and dialogue with Pakistan, the same Pakistan which was responsible for terrorism, Islamist jihad that drove out our Kashmiri Hindus from the Kashmir Valley and was responsible for their genocide and for terrorism across India. This is the same Gupkar Congress ecosystem that says it will not unfurl the tricolour at Lal Chowk and calls it a RSS agenda. This is the same ecosystem that fights and battles against the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. This is the same ecosystem that bats for the politics of PPP, Parivarvad, Pakistan Parasti and patronage to Atankwad, Algawad and Patharbazi. And this is the same ecosystem which says it is fighting hate but has not yet condemned ever the hatred, the Islamist hatred which was responsible for the mass exodus and genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits from the valley. This is their mindset. And then the Farooq Abdullah compares Rahul Gandhi to Shankaracharya. After comparing Rahul Gandhi and seeing Prabhu Ram in Rahul Gandhi by Salman Khurshid, now Farooq Abdullah can see Shankaracharya and Rahul Gandhi. This is the same Congress party and Rahul Gandhi who doubted the existence of Sri Ram. They linked Hindutva to ISIS and Boko Haram. They say Hindu terror, saffron terror. They attack saffron color and they see jihad in Gita Ji. And then they compare Rahul Gandhi to Shankaracharya and to...
So as Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra enters Kashmir, the parallel that's been drawn by NC leader Farooq Abdullah, who's compared the Gandhi sign to Shankaracharya, saying just like Shankaracharya walked the path from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, Rahul Gandhi is treading the same path as Adi Shankaracharya. We have Dr. Nirmal Singh, former Deputy Chief Minister of J&K, joining us. If I can get your quick reaction to the remarks coming in from the NC leader, where he's compared Rahul Gandhi to Shankaracharya.
I condemn it with the strongest possible words. Now,
all right, there seems to be a network problem. We'll try connecting with Nirmal Singh again. But just to recap again, the remarks that have come in from NC leader Farooq Abdullah, who's compared Rahul Gandhi to Adi Shankaracharya, saying that just like Shankaracharya walked on foot from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, Rahul Gandhi is treading the same path as Adi Shankaracharya, and that just like Shankaracharya walked when there were no roads but jungles, Rahul Gandhi is now taking out a yatra from the same route from Kanyakumari, and that is now reaching Kashmir. News in brief from across the country. Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur held 3-hour-long meet with the protesting wrestlers and has now issued a statement on the grave allegations levelled against the Wrestling Federation of India chief, saying that the government has sent a notice to WFI and has sought a response within 72 hours. Remember, this comes after top wrestlers led by Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Fogart and Sakshi Malik staged a protest at Delhi's Jantar Mandir demanding complete overhaul of the WFI.
मैं तो यही कहूँगा, खिलाड़ियों ने जो आरोप लगाए वो गंभीर किस्म के हैं और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है.
In a big win for the protesting wrestlers, 3 major changes are expected after the 3-hour-long meet between the sports minister and the wrestlers. Sources say that the training center is likely to be moved to the national capital and 8 coaches will also be changed. Further resignation of the WFI chief is the last sticking point. As per sources, another meet is likely today after the late-night marathon meeting between the sports minister and the wrestlers. Meanwhile, the Wrestlers Federation of India is also set to submit a report by 3 p.m, following which the Sports Ministry will take a call between 4 to 8 p.m. today over the next course of action. Prime Minister Modi will distribute around 71,000 appointment letters to newly inducted recruits in government departments and organizations. While video conferencing, the Prime Minister will also address these appointees on the occasion in a big boost to employment. A day after BRS public meet where top leaders slammed the central government, was using governors against the state governments in non-BJP led states. Telangana Governor Sundarajan has now hit out saying that the governors are performing their duties and that there is no political agenda behind it. Stoking a fresh row, JDU leader Ghulam Rasool Balyawi said that Muslims will make every city a Karbala if any finger is raised towards profit, further hitting out at the political parties for calling themselves secular and not pressing for Nupur Sharma's arrest. Hitting out at Nitish Kumar, senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad said that Nitish dreams of emerging as opposition's prime ministerial face, but he was not invited for KCR's public meet.
क्या नीतीश बाबू कभी अकेले चुनाव लड़े हैं क्या? कभी एक बार लड़े थे 14 में, तो क्या हुआ था? हमेशा उनको एक सहारा चाहिए। तो हिंदुस्तान के नेता बनने के लिए प्रकाश बाबू सिर्फ बैसाखी में काम नहीं चलता, अपनी शख्सियत होनी चाहिए। नीतीश कुमार को शख्सियत अब नहीं बची है।
राहुल गांधी और नीतीश कुमार में कौन सशक्त उम्मीदवार है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के खिलाफ?
ये सब आप असेस करिए, मेरा काम नहीं है। आज हम
With his term as a BJP national president extended till 2024, JP Nadda is all set to visit Ghazipur district in East Uttar Pradesh today, marking the beginning of the party's campaign in the Lok Sabha constituencies in the state where BJP lost in 2019. A SWOT analysis of the Indian economy ahead of the budget, unmissable Republic dialogues live from Pune today.
A network that stormed into Bengal, promising that Kota Hobe.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजीबीएसएफ सर।
डीजीबीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उन्होंने कहा सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है, हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वॉन्ट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
Republic 48.3%, 374% more viewership than News 18 in super prime time. Content supremacy has destroyed the landing experiment. Republic TV, voice of the people.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजीबीएसएफ सर।
डीजीबीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उन्होंने कहा सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है, हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वॉन्ट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
We see all these wrestlers who have gathered here, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart, Bajrang Punia, who are sitting right here, and more of these aspirants, these budding wrestlers who have gathered here in huge numbers, because it is really about their careers, their future. It is about the youth of our country. Senior wrestlers are saying that they are proud of these children who are raising their voices, who've come right here and who've had the courage to speak up against Brij Bhushan Sharan.
हो गया बस।
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not? Basically, he
पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया। पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेके वो चीज पे नहीं। आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले।
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis.
Here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestlers and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
News and brief from across the globe. The unrest in Gilgit-Baltistan has become a matter of concern for Pakistan, as protesters have been demanding to get united with India. All Pakistan provinces except Punjab have sometime in the past wanted to get separated from Pakistan. None have, however, desired to go with India. Gilgit-Baltistan has now demanded to get unification with India. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman Imran Khan on Wednesday said that his party currently had no contact with the new military leadership. The deposed Prime Minister denied links with Army Chief General and claimed that the general elections will take place in April 2023. Ukraine's President Zelensky said that an investigation had been initiated after a helicopter carrying the country's interior minister crashed into a kindergarten in a foggy residential suburb of Kiev, killing him and about a dozen other people as well. Actor Julian Sands has been missing for 5 days in southern California mountains, where he was hiking on Friday. Search and rescue crews looked for the actor in the area of San Gabriel Mountains, about 40 miles northeast of downtown Los Angeles, but had to suspend the ground search on Saturday because of conditions and avalanche risks, and since then have not been able to resume. Alright, it's a fresh face-off between the Delhi government and the governor LG Saxena. We're now given to understand that the Delhi governor has written to Chief Minister Kejriwal over his recent comments in which the Chief Minister of Delhi questioned who is LG in the assembly over the teachers training Finland. So it's yet another escalation. Latest, we're given to understand that the Delhi LG has written to Arvind Kejriwal. This, of course, remember after Arvind Kejriwal had in fact taken a jibe at the LG in the national capital, saying that in fact questioning the role of the LG in Delhi. In fact, just to quote excerpts from this letter that has been written by LG to Arvind Kejriwal, where he says that you were protesting with others outside the Raj Nivas, demanding to meet me. Thereafter, I invited you to come and meet me. Slipping into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you live coverage from Pune as a SWOT analysis of the Indian economy ahead of the Budget Unmissable Republic dialogue live from Pune all through the day.
Republic 48.3%, 374% more viewership than News 18 in super prime time. Content supremacy has destroyed the landing experiment. Republic TV, voice of the people.
We see all these wrestlers who have gathered here, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart, Bajrang Punia, who are sitting right here, and more of these aspirants, these budding wrestlers who have gathered here in huge numbers, because it is really about their careers, their future. It is about the youth of our country. Senior wrestlers are saying that they are proud of these children who are raising their voices, who've come right here and who've had the courage to speak up against Brij Bhushan Sharan.
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis on the Indian economy. Gauging the present and future outlooks. Economists, thinkers, policymakers decode the India story. The Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series, coming soon.
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestlers and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the Nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
हो गया बस
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not?
ये पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया. पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेके वो चीज पे नहीं. आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action.
A very good morning to all our viewers. Let me quickly tell you all that this morning I'm joining you from Pune. What is happening here? Yes, I'm sure you're watching to know that the Republic Dialogues, which is a thought leadership series, is going to begin, and this is a ground event that is happening in Pune. With me is our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, as we are gearing up for this event that is much awaited. And Abhishek, really to give our viewers a sense of what's happening, what's expected, because while we are 10 days away from Budget 2023, this is a larger conversation, not just about what is expected this year, but primarily where do we see India in 2047? How are we moving towards policy building? Tell our viewers what's expected, who's going to join us?
Well, Suesha, so you see, first up, I'll come to the budget and the economic conclave, but remember, this is the first edition of the Republic Dialogues, a platform essentially started by our group and the network to engage with the people directly and bring citizen voice on Republic Media Network. So we have those summits like the big one, Republic Summit in English, and then we have the Bharat Summit in Hindi, and then we have the flagship India Economic Summit which we hold in Delhi. But this one, the Republic Dialogues, specific to the budget this year, and then of course we would have spin-offs with the Republic Dialogues platform engaging with other sections of the society over a period of time. This is aimed at directly connecting with the viewer where they are. So for example, we have traveled the entire network, including our editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami, and we would have him in a while, to Pune to engage with the Punekar and to bring in certain Puneri intellectual engagement, to on our platform. And that's the background. Now, coming to your question about the budget, obviously we are building up to the union budget, the last full budget for this government, the second term of the Narendra Modi government, the BJP government, and there are expectations on both the sides. So some people think that since it's the last full budget ahead of the general elections, so would it be a populist budget? And if it turns out to be a populist budget, it makes the middle classes and the socially underprivileged groups happy, but would it come at the cost of the fiscal deficit, as it is called, and would it really constrain the finances of the government, and in that sense, what kind of dominance it's going to have on the markets, for example. So those are interesting aspects that everyone connected with the business, finance, economy is deliberating these days. And typically what happens is, so when general elections come, everyone is thinking in terms of politics. And when a budget is coming, everyone is thinking in terms of fiscal deficit. So it would be interesting. We have a lineup of economists. You have the list who would be giving us an idea of what could be on the mind of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, what could be easy things for her to do, what could be difficult, and what's going to be the consequences for people at large, for the country. Remember, you mentioned that we are going to be an economy of certain size by 2047, 27 trillion dollars. To think of it, that's almost 10 times of where we stand today. And you look at the per capita, then we are about $2,000 now. It could be about 15, 16, 17,000 US dollars, and imagine how rich a nation we would be, and individually every citizen would be. So that crystal ball gazing also we are going to do during the sessions that are lined up. One I would be doing, and I'm very excited about, is the SWOT analysis of Indian economy as we stand today, just ahead of the budget. So all this happening over the next couple of hours at the Republic Dialogues in Pune.
And Abhishek, how can we not tell our viewers about the speakers who will be under the same roof, exchanging ideas, discussing their opinions, and most importantly, Mr. Guru Murthy is being waited for. Everyone is waiting to hear from him. He's expected somewhere close to 11, and tell our viewers more about
That's an important aspect of this Republic Dialogue. So what happens is, Suesha, all economics is rooted in certain ideology, political economy as it is called. And since we have a right-wing government, which is typically around the world, right-wing governments would be fiscally conservative, a fiscally liberal, and in that sense, I think for the government to have done fantastic work, the Modi government over the last 8 budgets, with keeping track of the FRBM and keeping to those tight targets despite the pandemic. For example, we are told that the target of 6.4% of fiscal deficit would be kept by the government. So I think those aspects, the ideological basis of that, I think we will get a peep in Mr. Guru Murthy's
engagement. How the government has been reiterating that the GST collections have been more than 22%. This has really helped the economy move on a very fast pace. So we have to slip into a very short commercial break. Abhishek will be back on the other side. I believe Arnab will also be speaking shortly. For now, a short commercial.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
Why we see all these wrestlers who have gathered here, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart, Bajrang Punia, who are sitting right here, and more of these aspirants, these budding wrestlers who have gathered here in huge numbers, because it is really about their careers, their future. It is about the youth of our country. Senior wrestlers are saying that they are proud of these children who are raising their voices, who've come right here and who've had the courage to speak up against Brij Bhushan Sharan.
हो गया बस
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not?
पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया. पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेके वो चीज पे नहीं. आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले.
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis on the Indian economy, gauging the present and future outlook. Economists, thinkers, policymakers decode the India story. The Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series, coming soon.
We've got an iconic policeman on our show. आपका पुलिस का सफर बड़ा आइकॉनिक है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ सर, आपका सफर कैसे शुरू हुआ? व्हाई डिड यू चूज टू जॉइन द आईपीएस?
मैंने तो तैयारी की थी पूरे इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस के लिए, पर कुछ संयोग ऐसा हुआ कि 2 पर्चे देने के बाद मेरी आंख में कुछ समस्या हो गई। इलाहाबाद में आई स्पेशलिस्ट जो सबसे अच्छे थे, उन्होंने इलाज किया, पर उनके पूरे इलाज के बावजूद मेरी आंख ऐसी नहीं हो पाई कि मैं इम्तहान में बैठ सकूं। और 3 कंपल्सरी और 2 पर्चों के आधार पर मेरा जब रिजल्ट आया तो मैंने देखा कि मैं आईपीएस में मैं नंबर 1 पोजीशन पे हूँ। इस तरह से आईपीएस में मेरा सिलेक्शन, आप मुझे एक्सीडेंटल पुलिस ऑफिसर भी कह सकते हैं।
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestlers and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is
Okay, thank you for staying with us, viewers. And this is a much-awaited event. This is Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series. And remember, this is the beginning of this series. Now, I'm getting you a sneak peek from inside the event of what is happening, as we have a lot of our guests and speakers lining up. But Arnab has just arrived, so let's try and get a word from him. Arnab, very good morning. I know you're having a conversation. Sorry I interrupted. But we are talking to our viewers, giving them a sense of what's expected, who all are going to be here on this stage, and what is the larger discussion we are having.
Thank you so much, Suesha. Basically, the Republic Dialogues is a event where we want to pick up themes across the country which are relevant at different points of time and bring it to a live audience in different cities. So over the course of this year, we expected to do about 6 to 10 such events. I particularly chose Pune because it's a commercial and financial hub. It is a cultural center. We have strong associations with Pune. We live close to Pune. And the idea of today's event, Suesha, is to have a detailed discussion on where we are placed vis-a-vis the economy in the run-up to the budget, but not only in the run-up to the budget, in the run-up to the next 5 years, in terms of structural reforms, where they have placed India, where we are placed in terms of economic stability. There is talk of a global recession. How will we endure that, and what can the commercial world expect? I think more importantly, the people in the world of business want a futuristic sense of where things will be placed given global headwinds. While I am personally very sure that we will endure it, occasions like this give us an opportunity to sort of go deeper into these issues. So that is the whole purpose of the Republic Dialogues.
Yes, absolutely. And to dive into this conversation, we have some very eloquent speakers. You were very particular about the kind of voices we were bringing under this roof to really give us a sense of where this conversation is headed and what is the larger picture Republic is putting out. Again, for our viewers, who all are going to be here, how is the program going to pan out?
So we have with us former members of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, who's also been the Director of Brookings. She's going to be presenting a paper on the SWOT analysis of the Indian economy, and then followed by a economy panel where we'll go deep into issues of economy, followed by a keynote with Mr. S. Gurumurthy, who's specially flying down for this event, and people in Pune are very excited to hear him. I'm a big fan of his, as you know. So all in all, I think about 4 or 5 hours of very packed conversations this morning leading up to lunch, yes.
And
Lastly, before I let you go, you said Pune is the beginning. We have more such events lined up, more such conversations lined up. A sneak peek for our viewers.
So I think that the Republic Network wants to look at two kinds of conversations. We do these summits, we do the big events in Delhi and in Bombay. We want to move outside Delhi and Bombay and go to the other major cities of the country and establish our presence there through live conversations. So Republic Dialogues is one event, and the second one is where we will do futuristic conversations on areas which matter and which can have a great significance in our economic life in the future. For example, artificial intelligence, technology, automobiles. So even culture, history, different perspectives of history. So those will be conversations which will be more focused on specific issues. So I think the idea is basically to increase the community of people who are watching and interacting with Republic. You know, the whole thing is, Suesha, when you come to an event like this, then it becomes an opportunity to feel the network. You watch it on the screen, but you sort of feel the network, and we want to come closer to our audience.
Yes, absolutely. And wishing you and the entire team and myself all the very best. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Thank you so much. Thank you. And for our viewers, of course, that gives you a fair idea of what you're going to be watching in the next 4 to 5 hours. Very packed, crisp conversations. Like we mentioned in the start, that this is not just restricted to budget 2023, what it could be, if it is a populist budget, what is expected, but really a larger conversation of where India is headed, in which direction, as we are looking at policy building into 2047. So I'm going to leave our viewers on that note and toss it back to the studio. We're just gearing up for the event. Like you see, all the tech checks are happening. So that's just a quick roundup of, how we are just going to be beginning in a short while from now. Do stay tuned.
All right, going straight ahead to the other big news story that we are following this morning now. After the late night marathon meeting that was held between the Sports Minister Anurag Thakur and the protesting wrestlers, sources have told Republic TV that it has been decided that the wrestlers will first go to Jantar Mantar now and discuss the future strategy. Also, will be having a presser at about 10:30. So that's about 25 minutes from now. Meanwhile, Brij Bhushan will also be holding a press conference at about 12 this noon. He's, of course, on the dock for harassment, and the WFI president has said that he will expose a larger political conspiracy that is behind this. Let's go across to Tanisha. She's reporting, I think, from the Jantar Mantar to give us an overview of what we are expecting. Now, Tanisha, there was a marathon 4-hour meeting that went on between the wrestlers and the sports ministry yesterday. Nothing really seems to have been fructified on what was the outcome. We do understand that there are certain demands that the sports ministry has agreed to, but the biggest demand, of the sacking of Brij Bhushan still has not been met.
Well, rightly said, Nupur. A very, very good morning to you. We are today reporting from Jantar Mantar, where the stage is all set for the stir of the wrestlers to enter day 3. Remember, yesterday in a late night development, there were several meetings that were conducted. Anurag Thakur had rushed from Chandigarh to the national capital to meet these wrestlers who have been protesting, sitting here in chilling winters. Remember, day 1 it was just 30 of them. Day 2 there were more than 500 people, and today the protest is likely to intensify. What we are getting to know is that in just some moments from now, the wrestlers will be here. 10:30 is when we are expected to have a press conference. They will be briefing the media. Barricades have been put up. I would like my camera person to pan around and show it to you how the security has been beefed up. It is more than it was in the first or second day of the protest, because remember, what we are talking about here is India's pride, who brought laurels to India India coming out in protest and wanting justice served to them. And this is regarding the several allegations that they have raised on the Wrestling Federation boss Brij Bhushan, who's also a BJP MP. They have been demanding his sacking. Yesterday in a late night development, there were several meetings that were conducted. However, what we know from our sources, what wrestlers have told us, that there were only assurances and no concrete action. So that is what we are getting to know, that there were only assurances given by the sports ministry and no concrete action, and hence they are not happy with the meeting. Today there will be another round of meetings that will be taking place from the sports ministry, with the sports ministry. 10:30 is when they will do a presser. Soon after that, they will decide their future course of action. There are 2 rounds of meetings. One is in late evening. The first round of meeting will be conducted soon after they brief the media about what is the strategy for today. Nupur.
Right, all right. Tanisha, do stay with us. I think we've also got Anuj as well as Piyush Ori joining us right now. Anuj is reporting from outside Anurag Thakur's residence now. Anuj, as Tanisha was pointing out, as far as the wrestlers are concerned, they are very, very sure that there is only one thing that they want at this point in time, that is the sacking of Brij Bhushan. Now, what are your sources telling you? Why is the sports ministry still thinking about this? Are they waiting for the report, or is there anything else that's playing on their mind?
Well, that is something what was stated by the minister himself, that yes, they are waiting for the response, because 72 hours was the time which was given, and yes, they are waiting for the response. On the other hand, let me tell you that this was the meeting which happened last night, where the wrestlers was called in, and this was the ministry who were trying to convince the wrestler that yes, the ministry is going to take the action. They are going through the deep investigation, and they will be getting the justice. That's something, the assurance which was given by the ministry. But let me tell you that the wrestlers are not convinced after that particular meeting. It was the scheduled meeting today, when the minister himself has called the wrestlers for the meeting, but they deny for the same. They are now at Jantar Mantar. The wrestlers are again going to be holding a press conference from Jantar Mantar itself. Let me tell you, the breaking what we are getting at this point in time is that the ministry has once again given a message to the wrestlers, and what is expected, that after their press conference they will be heading toward this particular residence of Minister of Sports Anurag Thakur. That is something what we are expecting. And this is the second message, let me tell you. The message has been given to the wrestlers again. There was a call which was made in from the ministry to the wrestlers that they, the ministers is going to chair the meeting with these wrestlers, so that the things can reach to any kind of conclusion. That's something what we have been told.
All right. So Anuj, what you're saying at the moment is that they will still wait before they come back. Let's quickly listen into what Anurag Thakur has said.
खेल और खिलाड़ियों को लेकर सदैव भारत सरकार ने लगातार शानदार काम किया है, और आपने खेल के उत्थान के लिए देखा होगा जिस तरह से भारत ने मेडल भी जीते हैं, परफॉर्मेंस हुई, बहुत अच्छा भी किया है। फेडरेशनों में सुधार लाने के लिए भी लगातार काम हुए हैं, और जो आरोप लगे हैं, मैं तो यही कहूँगा, खिलाड़ियों ने जो आरोप लगाए वो गंभीर किस्म के हैं, और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है, और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है प्रभावी रूप से। और हम सदा खिलाड़ियों से पहले भी मिलते रहे, और आज भी मेरा प्रयास है कि मैं वापस आकर खिलाड़ियों से मिलूंगा ताकि उनकी बात को सुन भी सकें और जो उचित कार्रवाई होगी वो भी करेंगे।
अभी आप दिल्ली जाके वहाँ मिलने,
मैं निश्चित तौर पर अपना कार्यक्रम बाकी छोड़ के वापस दिल्ली जा रहा हूं, मैं उनसे मिलूंगा भी और बातचीत भी करेंगे, सुनेंगे भी। और मैं यही कह सकता हूं, खिलाड़ियों के हितों के लिए और खेल के हित के लिए पहले भी सरकार ने लगातार कदम उठाए हैं, अब भी सरकार ने कहीं कोई संकोच नहीं किया। तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए हमने नोटिस भी दिया था, जवाब भी मांगा 72 घंटे में, कैंप को भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया है, और भी आगे जो कदम उठाने पड़ेंगे वो भी उठाएंगे। और खिलाड़ियों से मिलकर पूरी जानकारी भी प्राप्त करेंगे।
All right, so in the next half an hour or so, we should be hearing from the players, and also, of course, we will be hearing what Brij Bhushan has to say. Perhaps thereafter, there should be a resolution of this, at least today. So, Tanisha, as well as Anuj, for the moment, both of you, thank you for joining us. Now, more news coming in. We are now learning that the Enforcement Directorate has raided R.D. Patil's house in the Kalburgi district. R.D. Patil is the alleged kingpin in the police sub-inspector recruitment scam. His home has been raided in the Akka Mahadevi colony of Kalburgi. Patil, who was released from prison on bail. Now, just to tell our viewers a bit about the scam had come to light in October of 2021, in which two people, including R.D. Patil, were named as the kingpins and accused of helping candidates pass the recruitment exams using Bluetooth devices. Prajwal has more on this. Prajwal, good morning. Take us through the latest that you are picking on this. We're given to understand that the ED is also looking into money laundering now.
Absolutely, Nupur. Now, latest information coming in from the Enforcement Directorate is the fact that a team of around 4 to 6 officials had gone on to conduct raids early this morning at Akka Mahadevi colony in Kalburgi city, and now it is being understood that they have gone on to seize important documents relating to the PSI scam as well. And it is not only R.D. Patil, but even Mahantesh Patil's role was also being questioned in the PSI scam, and both of them were arrested. Mahantesh Patil, who is also a local Congress leader, was raided, and he was released on bail on the 13th of December. But R.D. Patil, whose residence is being raided, who is the brother of Congress leader Mahantesh Patil, his house too has now been raided, and it is being understood that the Enforcement Directorate has gone to pick documents relating to the PSI recruitment scam as well, and now even electronic evidence too has been taken in by the Enforcement Directorate is what we get to learn. These raids were conducted since early morning, and even now it is being learned that there are a group of ED officials who are still going on and looking into the documents, and apart from this they are also looking into the bank transactions which had been conducted 6 months prior to this particular scam, which had also pointed out that there was a nefarious nexus between the officials and the Patil brothers who have been named as kingpin. We also saw that the former IGP Amrit Pal also was taken into custody as well, and the central authorities were instructed to go ahead with the probe when the state government of Karnataka handed it over to them, and now it is being learned that there has been financial transactions between the Patil brothers as well as Amrit Pal, the former IGP too. So these are some big, these are some big leads which the Enforcement Directorate is acting on. Now, the nature of the evidence is taken has been in the form of digital evidence, electronic evidence, and apart from that, some papers and bank transactions too has been under scrutiny for a long time now, Nupur.
All right, Prajwal is bringing us the details of this particular case and the Enforcement Directorate's raids that are being carried out even as we speak. Thank you, Prajwal, for joining us. And here's a quick look now at what else is making news this morning. The Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur held a 3-hour-long meeting with protesting wrestlers and issued a statement on the grave allegations against the Wrestlers Federation of India. He said that the government has sent a notice to the WFI and has sought a response within the next 72 hours. This comes after top wrestlers led by Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Fogart and Sakshi Malik staged a protest at Delhi's Jantar Mantar, demanding a complete overhaul of the Wrestlers Federation.
ये कहूँगा खिलाड़ियों ने जो आरोप लगाए वो गंभीर किस्म के हैं और उसका संज्ञान लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने, खेल मंत्रालय ने तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को नोटिस भी दिया, 72 घंटे के अंदर जवाब भी मांगा है, और इसके अलावा जो कैंप लगना था उसको भी पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया है.
In a big win for protesting wrestlers, 3 major changes are expected after the 3-hour-long meeting with the sports minister. Sources suggest the training center is likely to be moved to the national capital, and 8 coaches are also likely to be changed. Further resignation of the WFI chief is the last sticking point. Sources suggest another meeting is likely this morning after the late-night marathon meeting. Meanwhile, Wrestlers Federation of India is set to submit a report by 3 in the afternoon, following which the Sports Ministry will take a call between 4 and 8 o'clock over the next course of action. Prime Minister Modi will distribute around 71,000 appointment letters to newly inducted recruits in the government departments and organizations via video conferencing. The Prime Minister will also address these appointees on the occasion in a boost to employment. A day after the BRSS public meeting where top leaders slammed the centre was using governors against the state governments in non-BJP-led governments, Telangana's governor Tamilisai Soundararajan has now hit out, saying that the governors are performing their duties and there is nothing political about this. Well, stoking a fresh controversy, the JDU leader Ghulam Rasool Baliavi has said that Muslims will make every city Karbala if a finger is raised towards the Prophet, further hitting out at the political parties for calling themselves secular and not pressing for Nupur Sharma's arrest. Hitting out at Nitish Kumar, senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad has said that Nitish dreams of emerging as the opposition's prime ministerial face, but he was not invited for the KCR public meeting.
क्या नीतीश बाबू कभी अकेले चुनाव लड़े हैं क्या? कभी एक बार लड़े थे 14 में, तो क्या हुआ था? हमेशा उनको एक सहारा चाहिए। तो हिंदुस्तान के नेता बनने के लिए प्रकाश बाबू सिर्फ बैसाखी पे काम नहीं चलता, अपनी शख्सियत होनी चाहिए। नीतीश कुमार को शख्सियत अब नहीं बची है।
राहुल गांधी और नीतीश कुमार
With his team as the BJP national president extended till 2024, JP Nadda is all set to visit Ghazipur district of eastern Uttar Pradesh on Friday, marking the beginning of the party's campaign in these Lok Sabha constituencies in the state where the BJP lost in 2019. News just coming in, we are learning that the ED has conducted raids on the TMC youth leader Kuntal Ghosh's residences in Chinar Park. The CBI had questioned another TMC leader in the SSC recruitment scam, and we are given to understand that links have now emerged to the youth TMC leader Kuntal Ghosh, and that is why the ED is conducting raids on his residence. So this pertains to the SSC recruitment scam case. We are now given to understand that explosive information has come out after the interrogation that has been conducted with various people. Do remember that this pertains to the SSC recruitment scam which had exploded, and investigations had revealed that the TMC's leadership had deep links with this scam. We're going to try and go across to our correspondents for more details on this, but do remember that the Mamata Banerjee government has been under the scanner over the SSC recruitment scam, and the latest that we are getting right now is that another youth leader of the TMC has been raided. In fact, Kuntal Ghosh is another youth leader who appears to be under the scanner. Now, there are two of his residences which are being raided by the ED even as we speak. There are, of course, two parallel investigations that are going on right now in the SSC recruitment scam. One is being carried out by the CBI and one is being carried out by the ED. The ED, of course, looking largely at the financial angle of this, looking largely perhaps at the money laundering aspect of this.
And doing it all with some of India's brightest minds, today we'll hear presentations and conversations by thought leaders, top economists, and those who are at the very helm of India's policy making. With just 10 days to go for Budget 2023, it is crucial to look at not just where India stands presently, but also at all the strands of possibilities of the future. This thought leadership series will ensure various perspectives on the India story takes stage India remains the fastest growing economy, and India is being looked upon as a global bright spot. Many project that India will become a $26 trillion economy by 2047. India's vision this budget season is not limited to a year or a decade, but we are transversing towards building policies for India at 2047. Let's give you a fair idea of it through this AV.
India, the fastest growing economy, the bright spot amid global uncertainties, a trajectory rooted in inclusivity and sustainability. India is assuming G20 presidency.
आज मैं ये आश्वासन देना चाहता हूं कि भारत की G20 अध्यक्षता इंक्लूसिव, एम्बिशियस, डिसिसिव और एक्शन ओरिएंटेड होगी। एक्सेलेंसी, अगले एक साल में हमारा प्रयत्न रहेगा कि G20 नए विचारों की परिकल्पना के लिए और सामूहिक एक्शन को गति देने के लिए एक ग्लोबल प्राइम मूवर की तरह काम करे।
India is gearing up for the last deliverable budget of the government. All eyes are on the India growth story. It's time to peek through the looking glass. It's time to analyze what the future of the Indian economy holds. It's time for the biggest pre-budget dialogue on the economy. Republic Media Network presents the Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series.
And well, at a time when a new world order has been set in motion, new economic partnerships are being forged. Global partnerships are being realigned. The Republic Media Network's much-awaited Thought Leadership series is a breakthrough platform to ideate on critical economic questions. And now, without much ado, I'd like to welcome on stage the Editor-in-Chief of Republic Media Network, Arnab Goswami, to welcome you all and set the tone of the day. A huge round of applause for Arnab.
Thank you, Suesha. And good morning, everyone. And good morning to everyone in Pune. It's a complete and absolute privilege and pleasure to be back in my city. And I wanted to begin by saying that I have an old and fond and very personal equation with Pune. I know every street of this city. I spent 3 years in this city in class 5, 6, and 7 as a student of St. Vincent's, which I'm still very, very proud of. Wonderful school. My father was posted in the army, and he was the commander of an engineering, commander work engineers in Kadki. And we lived in Kadki. I used to go to the College of Military Engineering with my father. My sister is presently posted in Pune. But most importantly, I have with me in the audience someone I consider a brother and one of the most prominent citizens of Pune, Mr. Rajan Navani, who is with me here today. This event, the fact that we should do it in Pune, is truly Rajan's idea, and I would like to thank him for it. Rajan is one of those people who put faith in Republic when we started. He doesn't talk about it, he's very low profile. But not only did he support us, it was in his premises, in a small co-sharing garage when I didn't have an office, that I was given space. So Republic started in Bombay, but it's one of its first and greatest supporters. Mr. Navani is from Pune, so I just wanted to start by saying I have many connections to Pune, and I'm very proud to be hosting this event in Pune. So firstly, thank you very much to everyone in Pune for coming this morning. And thank you, Raj, for everything you've done for me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series. Before I speak about it, a couple of words about Republic as a network. In 5 to 6 years, we have built an independent, and that's the most important thing in the media today, an independent media network. Independent and defiantly independent in its ownership. Independent in its editorial thinking, you may like or not like. I know many people agree or disagree, But the one thing they will always say about Republic is whether you agree or disagree with them, this is their opinion. And we are not shy of our opinion. We back our opinion with factual reporting and research. We have fantastic journalists, some of whom are here in this hall today. I wanted to tell you that Republic has expanded into English, into Hindi. We have a firebrand and very popular network in Bengal. We are going to expand in every language in the country. And I'd like to share from this platform that we are going to transform the digital news landscape of the country this year with the largest digital newsroom. And we are all doing it through very enterprising journalists and a very entrepreneurial sense of this whole organization. And today we are one of the largest employers in the Indian media space, and I think that we are well poised for growth in the future. I want all of you to make Republic your brand of choice in the future. And now a few words about the Republic Dialogues. Why the Republic Dialogues? I feel a crying need, and I look into the screen every night. And I look at the camera, and I imagine talking to one person, and I know that is multiplied many times. But at the end of the day, whether it's a public campaign we are doing, whether it's a debate, I feel I'm speaking to people. And I cannot look at the camera as an inanimate object. I look at the camera as a person. And I think there is no greater thrill than a conversation face to face. We've gone through the COVID times. I know life is about convenience and the convenience of a Zoom call. But there is something very impersonal about it. And I get motivated when I meet people in the flesh. And the Republic Dialogues is simply that. One, to move our conversations outside Mumbai and Delhi. We have large conclaves in Delhi. Some of the largest conclaves in Delhi are hosted by the Republic Network. But India is growing beyond Delhi and Bombay. Beyond Delhi and Bombay and Bangalore and Kolkata, the traditional metros, there is a world out there of entrepreneurship. It gives me such immense pride when I go to an Ahmedabad, a Pune, a Thiruvananthapuram, and now Guwahati, my city, and see the transformation in the landscape there. You ask yourself, there must be something that is driving this all. And that is, in my view, a change of inertia. Inertia has changed. Somewhere the people of this country are defiantly saying, from where we are, true to our cultural ethos, speaking the language we were born with, we shall contribute to the growth story of this country. Without this, it is impossible that we would have had the confidence to say that we would have sustained 6, 7, 8% economic growth and even had the economists acknowledge our future growth. Without these people pioneering the efforts. And therefore, we wanted to start the Republic Dialogues as a conclave deliberately placed outside the traditional metros. And I can see the enthusiasm. As I met some of you today just before this, I could see the excitement. I could see the absence of cynicism. I could see the same energy and hope with which I started the Republic Media Network 6 years back, with the blood rushing through my veins, wanting to make a space for myself. And therefore we said, why not? And Rajan said, why don't you do it in Pune? And Rajan, I'd say, take it forward. Why not do it all over the country? So this conversation has tremendous excitement. I know that it matters. And it matters when someone like Dr. Shamika Ravi comes here today with her experience and background and wisdom, and she speaks to you and she takes questions. It makes a whole world of difference, because the audience will go back with a very deep and clear sense of where they think the economy is headed. And I think I thank you for that, Dr. Ravi, for coming today. I'm excited about the economy panel we have today, and I'm tremendously excited as well, and I'm sure all of us are, that we have later today none other than Dr. S. Gurumurthy, who's flying down from Chennai. And I just told our teams, has Mr. Gurumurthy's flight taken off? The biggest breaking news today will be Mr. Gurumurthy's flight takes off and Mr. Gurumurthy lands in Pune. Because just to soak in his wisdom, incredible man, such depth of understanding and the ability to relate economy, geostrategy, finance, and politics. And whatever we are as a country is a conjunction of all these four. So I actually, if you were to tell me, even if we were not hosting the event, but someone were to say, we have Shamika Ravi, we have Gurumurthy, all at this event, I would certainly come and attend the event. And even today, I would say if there are people who just for the intellectual flavor would want to attend the event, please call them in. Let the hall fill up. We'll all stand if necessary. But this is the reason we started the Republic Dialogues. Why are we having the first dialogue on the economy? Frankly, the dialogues can happen on any subject. It's because I feel the moment of turn is coming. The moment of turn is coming, and it's going to happen sooner than we think. We may not have to wait for 2030. We may not have to wait for 2035. And just yesterday, Martin Wolf, the chief economics commentator of the Financial Times, said this, and I have the quote before me. He said, I think a very important point, this is Martin Wolf, he said, I think a very important point is that over the next 10 to 20 years, it is overwhelmingly certain to all of us, and he's talking about the whole world, it is overwhelmingly certain that India will be the fastest growing of all the big economies, and it is going to be very big. Now, the British are known to be very conservative with their language. You know, if you take the exception of someone like Boris Johnson, they're usually very understated people. But the bottom line is this, is somewhere with all that happens in our political fabric, it influences our thinking. And it makes us cynical of our own possibilities. Ernst & Young is projecting India to become a 26 trillion economy by 2047, with a 6-fold increase in per capita income. Translate that to where it will be. And I just feel the thrill back. I say it's going to happen in my lifetime if I live till that long. I'm a doddering old man, but I will see it. I shall see it. And I certainly, when I see it, I'll stop becoming doddering. And it gives me a reason to hope. And it makes me excited. So this thought leadership series today is taking place at a very critical juncture. We are all set to roll out the last full budget of the current government. But I think I would not relate today's conversations entirely to the budget alone, because I think it'll be a very short-sighted view. And I think frankly, if you ask me, and I'm sure the knowledgeable people here will agree with me, that we overemphasize on the budget. It's that British tradition. We expect everything to be taken in the budget, and then it's the usual, and if you've seen, the government decides a lot outside the budget. But you look at the factors before us. Is the last full budget of the current government, point one. Point two, we have taken over the G20 presidency. So diplomatically, geopolitically, and economically, we are very hard to ignore. We're very, very hard to ignore. And if you look at the trend in the macro picture, just look at the fact 6-7% growth, and you look at 0.5% growth for the United States. They are saying 4% for China. Frankly, I think China will be battling against itself if China is at 2 or 3%. And we are growing at 6.6 to 7%. World Bank is putting a conservative number of 6.6%. We have record FDIs, but forget the FDIs. You just see I hate to make the reference to the stock market, but you ask what Morgan Stanley is talking today, they are saying there's going to be a 7 trillion boom in the stock market. You see the remittance flows that are coming into the country. Every indicator is telling you a story. And that's what I want to really hear today from every indicator is telling you a story that the hockey stick moment is coming. So we now need to reinvigorate the audiences in marvelous cities like Pune into belief and aspiration. What more can we do? And all of us, I think, must set ourselves higher benchmarks. I just met a wonderful young man who from Suhana Masalas before me, and immediately in the 1 minute of the conversation, I told him, Mr. Chordia, when the FTA is signed with the UK, I'd like to see your company set up shop in the United Kingdom so that we can give a real taste of the original Indian masalas, right, to the British. The British don't need to have a patent for Indian masalas, right? So I said that we can go global. Our flavors are changing and we should think global. I would like to lastly say one thing. I think every Indian company owes it to have a global presence. The moment of equalizer is coming. For me, the equalizer in media is digital. the digitization, the availability of bandwidth, both in terms of production and consumption. So I'm looking at the possibilities of creating content globally. If all of us, even suppose 10% of India's profit-making companies expand globally, imagine the footprint. And not with a view of, oh, we'll reverse colonize the world. No, not with a view to putting someone down, with a view to asserting ourselves and marking our space in the world. And I think this is a great day. It's one of the wonderful days when I will get to listen, and I should stop talking at this stage, because I can assure you, if you don't stop me, and if she's going to be so nice to me, I'll talk for the next 2 hours. I'll anchor from here tonight, maybe tonight. But thank you very much for coming. It's a pleasure, privilege. I look forward to listening to all of you, and a warm welcome to the Republic Dialogues, which is our thought leadership initiative. And thank you to all our panelists for coming today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arnav. And well, as we await the rollout of Budget 2023, the last deliverable budget of the current government of India will be looked at very, very closely. It is crucial to build frameworks that strengthen the national economy and ensure the impact is global, like Arnav also mentioned. The economic agenda is to create a roadmap for sustainable growth and macroeconomic stability. The first session this morning will put focus on what it will take to accelerate India's economy. How can India seize the opportunities of tomorrow? And what are the structural reforms that will propel growth? Our first guest will discuss structural reforms 2014 to 2022 and what lies ahead. Before that, we play out the CV.
The key drivers of a strong economy lie in the policy decisions. Be it the digital revolution or the rollout of the world's biggest banking for all scheme, or the supreme success of Startup India. The road from vision to implementation is built.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestler and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
हो गया बस
Sir, you said it is a political vendetta. You are not replying. Are you condemning your son's act or not?
पूरा मेरा बेटा को पुलिस ने भिजाया में सरेंडर कर दिया. पुलिस वाला एक्शन लेंगे वो चीज पे नहीं. आप पूरा देखने के बाद आप बताओ पहले.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job. VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर. लास्ट posting before retirement was DG BSF, sir.
DG BSF में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई?
Yeah. So this is my first slide. I don't have any text. I'm just going to show you evidence. This is India's per capita income, GDP. And of course, we are quite familiar with this. The fact that we are the fastest growing major economy, the fact that this is the per capita, by the way. So it is not just the aggregate. Per capita is an ordinary Indian's income level. That's the way you should look at it. It's been rising very rapidly. But you know, 47 years ago, an average Indian, an average Chinese, and an average South Korean were identical. Just 47 years ago. So around the time when I was born, we were similar, and just look at the difference today. So I want you to be sensitive to what is the growth potential and what is, oops. You can just take the top off. Okay, let's just go back to that.
A pre-budget look at the economy. A SWOT analysis on the Indian economy. Gauging the present and future outlooks. Economists, thinkers, policymakers decode the India story. The Republic Dialogues, a thought leadership series, coming soon.
We've got an iconic policeman on our show. आपका पुलिस का सफर बड़ा आइकॉनिक है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ सर, आपका सफर कैसे शुरू हुआ? Why did you choose to join the IPS?
मैंने तो तैयारी की थी पूरे इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस के लिए, पर कुछ संयोग ऐसा हुआ कि 2 पर्चे देने के बाद मेरी आंख में कुछ समस्या हो गई। इलाहाबाद में आई स्पेशलिस्ट जो सबसे अच्छे थे, उन्होंने इलाज किया, पर उनके पूरे इलाज के बावजूद मेरी आंख ऐसी नहीं हो पाई कि मैं इम्तहान में बैठ सकूँ। और 3 कंपल्सरी और 2 पर्चों के आधार पर मेरा जब रिजल्ट आया तो मैंने देखा कि मैं IPS में मैं नंबर 1 पोजीशन पे हूँ। इस तरह से IPS में मेरा सिलेक्शन, आप मुझे एक्सीडेंटल पुलिस ऑफिसर भी कह सकते हैं।
Right now we are at Chhattisgarh Stadium, and what we have got to know from the wrestlers who are training here at Chhattisgarh Stadium, from where these big wrestler and athletes Bajrang Punia, Ravi Daya have practiced and have gone to the nationals and played Olympics. Now we are learning that all these wrestlers will be participating the dharna which is going on at Jantar Mantar, and they all will be participating, and they have said that their movement is today in support with Bajrang Punia and with other athletes and wrestlers.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now therefore look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician, the in-flight pervert who urinated.
So you see, the pandemic has also dealt a heavy blow. Smaller economies are suffering also on account of the fact that they are too specialized. There are few sectors that determine their fate. So India is definitely one of the brighter sparks, even today, despite the pandemic. We are well on our way to achieving our developmental goals. You often hear, and I think media is a large part of the blame, India is getting intolerant and things are really falling off the cliff and so on. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the number of riots in India annually. Now, why do I pick something like riots to show to you? Because riot, definitionally, is a very precise thing. A riot involves, basically it is a violent episode which involves 5 people or more for a common purpose, and it is registered at the police station. What are you seeing? There is a structural breakdown. India used to be far more violent, if that's the word you want to use for riots, on the streets. Since 1990s, you are seeing a structural breakdown. There is a remarkable decline in the number of riots. So yes, today we are all on our telephones and our mobile phone, and every episode gets therefore magnified. But if you see the data objectively, we have far fewer conflicts in our streets today than we have had historically. Don't forget that. And I think it's important to keep an objective point of view. These are the number of rapes. Again, rape, why do I pick up some of these statistics? Because the definitions are precise. So you can do longitudinal or time-wise trends to see what is happening to India. So in crime against women, just these are our different states. The top one is India. What do you see? There is a structural breakdown. The number of episodes of rapes have begun to come down, and significantly so. In almost all the states, barring Jharkhand, Haryana, but everywhere else, there is a remarkable decline, and you must appreciate what this means on the ground. These are very, very big changes happening. This is infant mortality rate. Why do I map infant mortality rate? Well, it is one of the Sustainable Development Goals. Children below the age of 1 that die per 1,000. And on the x-axis, you have growth, economic growth. So as the GDP per capita has been growing, look what is happening to infant mortality across all our states. Not just the southern states, also the most backward parts of the country, the biggest states, the poorest states. Infant mortality in India is crashing on account of significant economic growth. Because it's not just availability of healthcare. Yes, that's a very important factor. But when children get better water, cleaner, access to air, just cleaner food, more nutrition, they survive. So economic development, in real terms, are these things. What has been happening to food security? Just look at it. We are growing, that is around 112%. We are growing more than what we are consuming in our consumption basket as far as food is concerned. Our food imports are down to now less than 4%. So India is self-sufficient food-wise. It's an important thing to keep reiterating and educating people on, because we've lived through famines. A lot of our policies, and sometimes I think even people in policy-making positions, we still carry that shadow. We still carry the memory of those very difficult times. So our policy can also be sometimes lethargic. Right now, we have a problem of abundance, which means we need to work much more on distribution than more production. So distribution is an equally challenging and complex exercise, and that is where most of our effort has to go in. Of course, we have to diversify, but we are growing much more than we need, which is a great thing. Why is the current Russia-Ukraine crisis such a major factor, and why are we constantly talking about it? Because while food security is under our belt, in terms of defense, you are seeing India for the first time is actually exporting missiles, etc. Energy is an area where we continue to be extremely dependent on imports. Amongst the major economies, that's India, China, and the US, the percentage of our total energy consumed which is imported, ours is one of the highest, 34%. Now what you're seeing, the Americans have very systematically brought it down since 2005. They used to be very high too. They were close to 30%. You see what the Chinese, they're stabilizing around 15%. For us, it's still going up, which means, of course, we are a young, hungry country. We need to grow. For that, we need energy, and we are importing a lot of energy. But moving forward, this is basically to tell you why we need such a mass movement towards renewable. We need a green revolution equivalent in the energy space. Remember when Green Revolution happened and the farmers adopted high-yield variety and how production rose within 2 decades, almost everywhere in the country. We are standing at that cusp of energy revolution. So renewable for us is strategically of a long-term interest, and we have to do it. I want to talk a little bit about labor market, because we are a young country and you keep hearing about demographic dividends, which could turn into a disaster, is something we are constantly warned. But I want to sensitize you to certain peculiarities, which is basically, these are idiosyncratic to India. It's not very common globally. But first, we have to distinguish between something called labor force participation rate and unemployment. Labor force participation means if you're of the working age, you are either working or looking for work. So are you participating in the labor force? A remarkable thing is China had labor force participation rate of around 75% for the last 3 decades.
For we cannot weep in joy and pride when Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia, Vinesh Phogat, Sangeeta Phogat and many others fight and give their sweat and sacrifice to win us medals, to make us proud. We can't now, therefore, look away when these national icons are reduced before our very eyes to fighting a lonely battle against sexual exploitation and abuse and corruption. We are for the wrestlers and against the politician. The in-flight pervert who urinated on a senior female co-passenger cannot play victim. The airline that refused to act cannot wash its hands off with delayed and very cursory action. It is only the Republic Media Network's non-stop campaign which has ensured that this pervert is terminated from his job.
VVIP racism is when common citizens say we are not going to be treated like second-class citizens anymore and taken for granted. Because India has had enough of common citizens being forced to put up with this by people who are drunk on power and their bratish sons and daughters. When there is one rule for the common man and one rule for VVIPs and their brats and netas' children, that is VVIP racism, and it doesn't matter to me whether Congress is in power or BJP is in power.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजी बीएसएफ सर।
डीजी बीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ, आग लग चुकी थी, बुरी तरह से लग चुकी थी। बीएसएफ के पैर जम चुके थे, बीएसएफ की धाक थी। मैं सोपोर का दौरा कर रहा था तो वहां मैंने देखा कि दूर कोई झंडा फहरा रहा है। ये किसका झंडा है भाई? उसने बैनर, उनका सर ये पाकिस्तान का झंडा है। मेरे तो सुनते बदन में आग लग गई कि पाकिस्तान का झंडा मेरे आंख के सामने फहरा रहा है हिंदुस्तान की जमीन पे, ये हो कैसे सकता है? आई वांट दैट दिस प्लेस शुड बी अटैक्ड, द मुजाहिदीन शुड बी डिसलॉज्ड एंड द फ्लैग हैज टू बी टेकन ऑफ।
Republic 48.3%, 374% more viewership than News 18 in super prime time. Content supremacy has destroyed the landing experiment. Republic TV, voice of the people.
आप पहुंचते हैं सीमा सुरक्षा बल सर। लास्ट पोस्टिंग बिफोर रिटायरमेंट वाज डीजी बीएसएफ सर।
डीजी बीएसएफ में उन दिनों देखिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती मेरे लिए थी कश्मीर की। कश्मीर में उस समय
आग लग चुकी थी सर।
हाँ,
Thousands of police officers were deployed in the capital city of Lima as